What's up, everybody? Just here at work burning the midnight oil, and I just finished putting together this video for you where the other day JB from JB Performance and myself were over at KP Fab and Tune doing a couple of comparison tests on one of the C6s that we put together. We tested what a 102 throttle body would do and a AFE cold air intake on that particular car, which is has a BTR Stage 4 cam with ported stock LS3 heads and a stock ported intake by yours truly. It has the what I call the race port, where it's fully open for 102. So we wanted to do it in steps to see what each modification gives us in terms of gains. So the first test was a 102 throttle body with the AFE intake on the car setup, and then later we were going to attempt to test the new BTR Equalizer 3 intake, but I don't want to give too much away. Check out the video, see how it went, and then you'll see why we definitely have a part 2 of this testing coming soon, hopefully real soon. So check it out, let me know what you guys think. Alright guys, here we are. This is a car that we're going to be testing the intakes on. It's LS3 Stage 4 BTR cam and ported stock heads. The intake is a race port intake, ported by me, stock throttle body and everything else. So this car on E85, it already dynoed at 498 rear wheel horsepower. So we already know what it did then. So what we're gonna do right now is we're going to install an AFE cold air intake and a 102 throttle body. Let me show you, we got this stuff over here. So there's the cold air intake, and so that'll be the first test. So we're gonna see what it does with a 102 cold air, the ported stock throttle body, ported stock heads, and the Stage 4 cam. After that, we'll throw on the BTR cam with the 102 and the same AFE intake, and then we'll see what the differences are, horsepower, torque, and power band. So this is the 102 that we use. Everything you see here, you can order from us, or if you have any questions, let us know. So there it is, 102. And then let me show you guys the intake. Let's walk over there, show you guys around. So, big hobby. So we got the intake here. And the fuel rails. So we're gonna install that now. This car's gonna get off the lift. Off the dyno, not the lift, excuse me. But then we'll do the first test and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. Yeah, so we will be recommending a oil filter, oil catch can to this customer. As you can see, it's sucking in quite a bit, which is kind of the norm for LS cars. And let me pull the gasket, right? Because you got to cut it?
Yeah.
All right. This is the Holley gasket that we use, and you can cut the inner ring to use a 102 throttle body. And as you can see, it is ported by me. That's why the opening is that big, so that it can fit a 102 that we're about to install. Let's try with the flash in there. See if it lights up. You can see the rail right there, my radius rod, where the magic happens. So we're gonna see how it does, cleaning it out. We got a new gasket that comes with the new throttle body. So you could use the Holley if you want to, but when you buy one, it comes with a new gasket anyway. So while he's doing that, let me show you guys what the intake looks like. So it's a real nice unit. AFE, this is the heat shield that goes over the air filter. You guys will see it better when we take everything out the box. So, nice big air filter. So it should breathe pretty good. Alright, so as you guys can see, just in case any of you are curious or want to buy the race port intake, or the porting service, as you can see, it seals nicely with the gaskets that we use. You obviously cannot use the O-ring anymore, but they seal pretty good. We haven't had any issues with that. And the throttle body blade clears, opens up. That's why it's opened up to the max. So now, we have not tested this intake on boost. Maybe we'll blow some up later and see what they do. But so far they've been performing good. Like I said, this car was just shy of 500 rear wheel on, was it 498? 498. 498.
No intake, stock intake.
E85. So if it gets into the 500s, we'll see. Maybe 520, 530. We'll see where it's at, but looking forward to it. Playing musical chairs here with cars. So once the intake's on, I'll show you guys how that looks. Alright, so that's basically how the intake looks, the cold air intake without the heat shield. Since we're going to be on the dyno with the hood up, we don't need the heat shield just yet. We want to get, the fans blowing air in here. But really easy install, man. 15 minutes and you're done. The only thing we got to do is we'll find a clamp to fit the 102. So, these are for a stock throttle body, so we need a bigger clamp. But other than that, pretty nice intake, nice huge filter, and you can see it there. Yeah. Anyway, I'm a crappy cameraman, so we're about to pull it up right now. Second car here. Look at that. Got a sneak peek while we set up the car. That's pretty sick. So first thing would be adjusting the car, the air fuel, because it has the intake and the throttle body. So get that tuned out, then the power pulls, and we'll see what she does. So once again, it did like 498 last time. I'll see if we can pull up the past dyno chart, but 598. So this is going to tell you what a 102 on my intake and the cold air will give you. So that'll be interesting to see. So we're still doing some tuning, but that pull was 500. So it didn't gain much. 3 horsepower. We're having a problem with it reading RPM on the dyno, so we didn't get a torque reading. So I don't know if it picked up torque. However, it only picked up 3 horsepower. It sounded good, pulled pretty good, but so far, unless we do a little more tuning, which we will, I'm thinking for this setup, it's quite possible that the 92 throttle body moves enough air. Now, I didn't think the cold air intake was gonna give you that much. More than 3, so let's see what she does now. I don't think it read torque again. It's not reading the torque.
Not reading torque, yeah, we're just getting torque.
Alright guys, so the final number with just the throttle body and the cold air intake is a total of 6 rear wheel horsepower gain. So that's 503 and change to the wheels. Unfortunately, we're not getting a torque reading right now. Maybe we can fix it in a bit. But anyway, we're going to leave that setup there for now, which is 503. I'm a little disappointed because the biggest factor between the BTR and the stock intake is probably going to be the torque output. So this is almost going to be like half a test, but we're here, we might as well do it and go from there. We might be able to do torque calculations. I'll see, man. I'll see what we can do when it comes to that. But for now, it's at 503. Being that it's a ported intake that's already moving a lot of air, I'm kind of not surprised that it only picked up 6. I thought it would be closer to 12, but that's just how efficient the old one was, and that's just how much air it's moving now. So 6 to the wheel, it's not a bad gain, especially when you consider that that throttle body is not that expensive. It's not a Nick Williams that's like $800. It's a lot less than that. It's a good throttle body and it works great. We've had no issues with it. So at least it's not like you spend 800 bucks for 6 horsepower. It was under 200 bucks, so that's not too bad. The cold air intake, it has more benefits than just overall power, like maintaining power, not losing, not retarding timing because of higher intake temperatures and stuff like that. That's where the intakes shine. You're not really gonna see, you know, static horsepower with the car sitting on the dyno. So for now, we have a 6 horsepower gain. At the end of the night, we'll overlay the graphs on the dyno so you can check them out and see where each one is. But the car did pull pretty good. It did pull a little better than before throughout the entire RPM range, and it has good throttle response. So those are some bonuses as well. Not everything is just peak power. So right now we're gonna pull it off the dyno. We'll install the BTR intake and we'll go from there. So that's the difference from last time. A bit over 6 horsepower. Well, nice power band. Focus. So it does pull pretty good. And most of the gains were at the very top. Alright, so we just finished assembling the BTR intake, and now we're starting to install it. Really easy assembly on it. Basically just installing a bunch of O-rings, putting a lid on the intake and your throttle body. Everything fits good. The map sensor goes up front, no issues. You do have to cut a little piece of the sensor off where it usually clips onto the stock intake. I'll show that later, but it's nothing big. So I think it's gonna look pretty good when it's sitting in there. So we just gotta find a couple things like a fuel fitting for the fuel rails. Once we get that, we'll finish it up and be ready to go. So a little update, we hit a snag where we're not going to be able to finish the car today, but it should get bolted, finished up tomorrow, and finish up the test. And then I'll put the video together so you guys can see. For example, we had an issue also where the wire failed on the dyno to read the RPMs, the tach, so it wasn't giving us a torque reading, only horsepower. So we had to deal with that, which sucks because I really want to and need to see the torque curve on these intakes. But anyway, the other 2 snags were we need a adapter for the fuel line, and then on this particular C6, the front valley cover bolts, the 4 bolts, sit too high and it hits the intake. So we need to get bolts with a smaller head, and also from now for future reference we'll probably use the valley covers that have recessed holes, so you can have nice flush bolts in there. But anyway, the intake looks killer. Let me show you guys. It looks pretty mean. So I'll get all finished up tomorrow. But that is a nice looking intake. So we'll see what happens. For now, it's to be continued, and hopefully I'll have some cool content for you guys real soon.